Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again. How are we on a Wednesday? Bucks play tonight against the Wizards. I am not going to see the beginning part of that game. I'm not sure how much I'm going to miss. I have it set to record parent-teacher conferences tonight.
Fun.
Well, I can't wait because my 9-year-old's in 4th grade, and Leroy Butler surprised his class today because it's anti-bullying month or whatever. And they were doing stuff all day. Everybody had to wear orange at their school and all of that. And Leroy Butler popped into his class.
Your 9-year-old act like the cool guy? Like you knew him already?
Oh, yeah. Leroy wanted him to introduce him and all of that stuff, I guess. I haven't talked to him yet, but Leroy had set it up last night with us. So I knew it was coming. And then I saw pictures. And, so I can't wait to hear what he has to say about that. So parent-teacher conferences at 7 o'clock tonight. So I'll miss the start of the Bucks game, but I'll eventually catch up on the DVR. So looking forward to that. I am really looking forward to this guy, and I'm really appreciative of the fact that he put a shirt on for me. I do appreciate that. It joins us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Guest hotline powered by Gruber Law, the one, the only, a haircut just like my 9-year-old. He is Matt Bernstein, former Badgers fullback, Believe in Badgers podcast. Him and Matt Perkins do a great job there. Matt, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime you send me a text, I'm jumping at the bed to get on. I love talking Badgers, even if it's not a lot of positivity surrounding the program.
Okay, this is what I got to understand the whole thing here, man. I got to understand everything because I said it. I think it was on Monday. Like if I was Chris McIntosh and all my guys are coming back and I've got this, I'm sick. Like, I'm sending a mass text, dude. I'm puking. I don't feel well. I can't get to Camp Randall. I'm sorry. Because I cannot imagine what he had to deal with all his former teammates who are probably livid by where the program is right now.
You know, it's tough. I specifically didn't go to Ohio State thinking that they were going to whoop our butts, which they did. So I went to Iowa, which actually wasn't any better.
No, it was awful.
It was awful. They honored Monte Ball. So you're honoring these legends, people who are started, that's probably the best Badger team that might ever be put together, the Rose Bowl teams. And then to be at a game where we can't score, it's right. Ugly. It's to me, it's tough, man. I'm not even in Wisconsin, but I feel it. I see it. It's on every platform. It just seems like a situation that either we're stuck in or we're unwilling to get out of.
Okay, so I have a multitude of issues here, and I want to see where you stand on each and every one of them. Do you feel, and I'm not even going to bring up, just forget the fickle part of this, just in general, as Badgers head coach, do you feel like there should be a responsibility of some sort to try to keep kids inside the state of Wisconsin when you're talking about top high school prospects? Because Gary Anderson didn't seem to give a crap about it. And the one currently doesn't seem to care all that much about it either, outside looking in. I'm not in his recruiting office knowing how his board looks, but it doesn't appear that way. I mean, we got offensive linemen playing at Ohio State and Notre Dame. Those are pretty damn good programs, but they're not good enough to play at Wisconsin. I mean, as a fan, you get pretty frustrated.
I get text messages every day about, look at this guy who went from Wisconsin to somewhere else, right? I've been saying this for a while with Matt Perkins on our podcast, saying, if you don't listen, this is not the Ohio State model. You can't take Ohio State's model. It's a different brand of football. It's completely different. So you came here potentially with that thought. It's not working. Who did it best? Barry Alvarez, Brett Bielema. You know what they did? They went into people's houses in Wisconsin and said, you need to be a Badger. We want you. And that's the most important group, is the Wisconsin kids. They live, breathe, they eat it. They love it. They grow up with Wisconsin. They grow up with the Packers on Sunday. I'm from New York. We grew up with no football on Saturday and the Jets or Giants. It doesn't matter because at least the Jets stink. But when you come to this culture and you see it, guys are wearing the red shirt on Saturday, the green on Sunday. Football means something to Wisconsin like no other place in the world.
Yep.
And if you're not going to recruit those kids and you think you can do what Ohio State does and go to Texas and Penn, it's not working. The culture is destroyed. We don't have the guys who love it, who will die for the program. We're missing that. And it's the beginning. That's when we have to do to start to revamp this whole team.
The other thing that I continuously hear from people associated with this program is he is not showing up and doing events like is expected of him to try to fundraise, to try to raise money, whatever. Events are getting canceled because he doesn't want to go do them because he'd rather go do whatever it is that he is going to do. And to be frank with you, I don't see how raising money takes a backseat to literally anything at this point when the team is as bad as it is right now. Like, you have to get more money into that program if you are going to compete from an NIL standpoint. If anything, he should be going out there and creating events for himself to go to try to raise more money for the program.
I would agree. I've been to an event where he was at in LA, and it was a really good event. Now, do I think that they kept those going? This was 3.5 years ago, or 3 years ago. So I would say that, Barry said it best. You got to be out with the people.
Yes.
Coach Alvarez, if you want to go see Coach Alvarez, where he'll be most of the time. It's at Ruth's Chris on the west side or some other bar or restaurant. He'll be there. He talks to people. Maybe not now. He's a little bit older. But as a new coach, no matter how visible you are, you need to be out amongst the people. You need to shake everyone's hand. You need to kiss every baby. You need to just do that. You need to be on social media. You need to be blowing up everywhere, going viral everywhere. I agree with you. If these things are true, you take everything with a grain of salt, but they're starting from somewhere, right? All these rumors are starting from somewhere, and they can't all be, they're all bad. I mean, it's really not a good look no matter what. So if I was him, he's got to get on the PR tour. He's got to get into people's homes. He's got to get into people's high schools. Like, where are all the Arrowhead kids? Where are all the Catholic Memorial kids? Like, what are we?
Ego? Yeah.
I don't know that much about Wisconsin high school, Brookfield. Like, I know where some of the best players have went when I was there. Why are these kids not pipelining right? Brian Calhoun coaches at a high school. Oak Creek High School. That's where I live. Oak Creek High School. Yep. Right down the road from me. Why isn't there a pipeline? There should be. I mean, there should be. And Coach Fick and all the coaching staff should be at these high schools every week. I mean, we are potentially going to be 2-10. We're beating teams that don't even matter in this world. If you're not out and about going to every football game on a Friday night, you're not going to have a job.
I hate to break it to you. The Badgers are in that schools that don't matter at this point. That's the unbelievable thing. The record has gotten progressively worse every year. They're the worst team in the Big Ten. I don't know if it's up for debate. Now, having said that, I brought this up the other day. Is it a legitimate out as far as, nope, you can't fire Luke Fickell because he hasn't had anybody stay healthy at starting quarterback in all 3 years he's been here? And my point was on the air of, hey, look, man, if I take Patrick Mahomes out for 3 years in Kansas City, how many games are they winning? If I take Jordan Love out 3 years in Green Bay, what are they doing? So from that perspective, you take the most important person out on offense, can you really expect the same thing from the offense?
We could talk. We can talk about these things for days. I cannot, for one bit, understand the product of football that's being played. No matter who's in, we knew this happened. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Like, this is the third year you lost your starting quarterback. Yep. There's a lot of rumors around Billy Edwards Jr. right now about if he's going to come back and play or not. And you know what? I don't know what I would suggest to him at this point, but I would hope he would come back to play. But I am not an excuse guy. Barry Alvarez is not an excuse guy. It's next man up. You went to the portal. You got two other guys, Danny O'Neill, and you got
Billy Edwards. And then the guy that's playing now from Southern Illinois, Fitzsimmons, or whatever his name is. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And you got Carter Smith kind of waiting in the background. Right?
He'll never get to that position. I promise you, if Fickell is here, he's never, ever going to get to that position. He's just not. We have the kid that whatchamacallit, the old offensive coordinator recruited out of Texas, and he was supposed to be the Matoyer, and he was supposed to be that guy. That never ended up happening either. They don't have the patience to put, say, a sophomore quarterback in there and go, you know what? You're going to learn on the job. We're going to grow you. We're going to develop you. We're going to get you better. That's the other part of the issue is, okay, you're Wisconsin. You don't have NIL money. Cool, fine, adjust. Guess what? When Barry Alvarez got here, one like people were clamoring to come to Wisconsin for Barry, but he took a bunch of 3-star kids and made them into NFL players. Bielema, as much as Bielema and I don't get along, he took 3-star guys, made them into NFL players. Who the heck has he developed at Wisconsin and his coaching staff? Who have they developed at this point? I mean, Hunter Waller, when he got there, he was a stud coming from Muskego. You knew that was going to happen, so that was a no-brainer. But the development is also a big issue at Wisconsin.
I completely agree with you. I think going to the portal is a mistake. You're building a team. You're not building a program. These guys are in and out. We've had too much. It's their turnstile, right? What does Vinny Anthony look at when he looks up and he's been there his entire career? All new faces. He doesn't know any of these guys, maybe 3 or 4 of them that have been there their entire career. That's not how I remember football. It's not how you get better at football. You can do all these things in the offseason, but when guys are in and out, it's impossible. I will not take the excuse that we need more money. I think everyone needs more money. But you're saying that we can't score points at all? I cannot believe that this is we're become like an excuse program, and I hate that.
People want Longo back because of how bad it is right now. They're like, just bring Longo back. I'm done with watching this. At least we scored last year.
I won't take the excuse of our quarterbacks are hurt, so we're going to be bad. And I won't take the excuse that we need more money. I know we need more money, but we should be able to recruit guys who can come play football, and we should be able to develop them or put them in the right position to win and to score points. To go, listen, Iowa's not an NIL, bank. Right. What do they have? They do the same things they did for 30 years. They run the football, they play great defense, and they recruit Iowa kids.
Talking with our guy, Matt Bernstein, former Badgers fullback, Believe in Badgers podcast. Him and Matt Perkins and a slew of others do a great job. Follow him on Twitter at Bernie_H_Hammer. Joins us here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky with you. So let me take you down this road. Let's say Fickle's out. Let's say that happens. Okay, fine. So now what road do we travel next? Because in my opinion, if you don't have the money to pay, James Franklin's a waste of money. Jimbo Fisher, who apparently wants back at 60, he's a waste of money. So that's all done. So now, as we talked about, do you go back to the family and say, I'm done? We're just going back and we're staying this thing in the family. So do you go get Eck? Do you go get Jimmy Leonard? Do you do that? Now, it ain't going to be Jimmy Leonard if it's still Chris McIntosh's athletic director. So that also would have to change in order to fix all of this. That is what I'm intrigued by. If they move, does McIntosh stay and does he go outside the program again? Or do they both go and then they try to bring everything back to the family? That's a big, big question. And I know Barry Alvarez swings a lot of weight still in Madison, and he will probably be the decision maker.
Sparky, you say a lot of names I like. You might be listening to my podcast. I love
great
Jason
podcast.
Eck. I appreciate that. I love Jason Eck. Here's why. He is hungry. He's turned programs around. Idaho, now New Mexico. They beat UCLA. You can say what you want to say about UCLA at the beginning. He's at New Mexico. Have you heard of them being good? No. What he does amazingly is his social media is awesome. He loves the dudes. You can see that they love him. He's doing all these things at New Mexico. That says to me, one, you should be at a bigger program, one that you care about. You were GA when I was there.
And he will be. It may not be Wisconsin, but he will be somewhere. Yes.
Listen, he's going to be on the board of every single place that has been firing people. I think we can get him cheap. What's cheap? Not $28 million. So we can get him for something that's lower than this asinine, this is what happens before a complete recession is you start paying all these coaches a ridiculous amount of money. Now there's no more money. So I think Coach Eck is the guy. Listen, his wife has a radio show. Imagine if she comes to Madison and is promoted on a radio, ESPN Madison. You're talking about a group. You're not just getting one. You're getting a couple who are going to promote and who love Wisconsin already.
She's a sports talk show host?
She has a talk show. I'm not sure if it's sports. I would assume it is, but I don't know. But imagine, does it matter?
No, it
She's
doesn't
going to bring
matter.
it all
No.
together.
Yeah.
And you hire him. You go. Listen, I would beg, borrow, steal to get Jimmy Leonard back. I know he's not coming back with Chris McIntosh.
No chance.
No chance. So, but still, he would be on my board forever. Coach Eck, I like Sean Lewis. I do like him. He's a guy. And you're talking about Coach Eck, who's going to put his heart and soul into this. It's a big program. He's been here. He put his heart and soul as a GA when I was there. He
recruits
everything.
Wisconsin probably.
He can recruit. I would trust that guy. You know, it's a family. That guy would be great. And you know what? What's the loss if he isn't? He's going to give it more than you're seeing now anyway. So I love the Coach Eck. There are some other people I think would be great, but in this world, I think you got to get someone whose social media is off the charts and who loves the guys and who loves the program.
So money wise,
oh boy,
NIL wise, and all of that, is there anywhere to go in your mind that they haven't tapped? I mean, Mark Cuban's dropping $50 million over here. I forgot what program it was, just got $200 million dropped in their lap from somebody else. FedEx is donating money, millions and millions, to the Memphis University program, because that's where their headquarters are, in Memphis. So they're helping to support Memphis with their NIL funding. I haven't seen anything publicly about anybody dropping a big dollar amount on Madison, and there's a lot of successful people that went to Madison.
I'm trying to think of
Come on, don't censor yourself.
Sparky.
It's just you and me. Just talk.
I'll tell you this. I think there's a lot that needs to change within the holistically in the program. I think the NIL department needs to be ramped up, and they need to get aggressive people in there who are going to go to bat and hit people hard. And I don't think they do that. And plug, I'm a New Yorker. I'll go do that. This means something to me. But so I don't think they're doing that. I think there's some other things in the background I don't understand, and they don't understand. But you really got to grind to get that NIL money. That is the sport today that we are in. And I think 3 years ago they said, nah, we'll see what happens. We're going to figure it out. We'll see what's going on. The NCAA is going to come in at some point and make some regulations. They didn't do any of that. We're 3 years behind. I still think with NIL, I don't think this team is any much better off. We might have won a couple more games, but I don't think we're where we wanted to be as a program with money or without it. I mean, without it, we're getting killed.
I don't know who's running the NIL in Madison. I have no idea. But this is what I would suggest right off the top, okay? Because my cousin used to do this, and now he runs his own agency or whatever on the side. But he used to be the lead fundraising guy for Tommy Thompson back in the day when Tommy Thompson was governor. So he did all that fundraising, put on the events, ran all of that, right? To me, if I'm them, I'm going to get the lead fundraising guy from both parties. I want both of you to come in here. You all have the connections to both parties, and I'm going to pay you more than what they're paying you, and I want you both to get together and go fundraise and bring money into Madison, because you know everywhere the millions are located across the state of Wisconsin from both parties, and let them go work. I'd rather do that than, and I don't know what they're doing, but taking a bunch of kids out of college who have a master's degree in something, going, okay, here you go. We need you to go raise some money for us. Go see what you can do. That's not the way. It's got to be guys that are connected left and right, and use your alumni that also have connections. Now, no offense to you, JJ Watt's loaded, man. He's got to know rich people. Hit up JJ Watt's connections. See what he can bring in. Joe Thomas. I love Joe Thomas. He's there. That's another one. Now, I don't understand this either. Maybe he don't want coach, but I had Joe Thomas on because he went into the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame. And he was talking about he works with these guys on Wednesdays in the offseason with the offensive line. So he's helping the program already. Is there more ways for Joe Thomas to become involved in the organization? Man's a Hall of Famer, for God's sakes, man.
He is the best lineman to ever play at Wisconsin, and
So
possibly in the NFL. So
yes.
And I know Joe, and I know Joe's grinding. He texts guys who are recruits. Like he works hard for the program as a volunteer. Right. I know he just gave a significant amount of money, I think, to the new project that's being built. But you got to bring guys back. The JJ Watts, the TJ Watts, the guys who made $100 million, like they could do things, right? And not only financially, what about their social capital, right? They know every
Yes.
single person. What about Big Cat? Big Cat's been very vocal. All right, let's go, Big Cat.
Yep.
Bring some companies in.
He's
Bring
talking about
Kugels in.
He's talking about Barstool, by the way, for those of you that know who Big Cat is. Yeah, go ahead.
So I agree with you. You need to have guys who are going to aggressively go after the big names who are Badgers, who are corporations in Wisconsin. Not just listen, Madison has Epic. I don't see any people with wearing Epic stuff. Go get Epic people. Not saying that would happen, but it's a big company. I mean, there's got to be a list, of Amazon's there. And all these places are there in Madison. There's got to be a way to attack, listen, million, 5 million, 10 million. I can't see how this couldn't happen.
I'm with you. Matt Bernstein, I love him. Former Badgers fullback. Believe in Badgers podcast. Him and Matt Perkins do a great job. Check it out. Follow him on Twitter at Bernie_H_Hammer. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime you guys need me, I love Wisconsin. I'm nervous for them for the rest of this year and possibly next year. I don't even want to think that far.
No. Next year has to be a bowl game. I don't care who the coach is. There's no Oregon. There's no Ohio State. That schedule is significantly easier. Yeah, you got Notre Dame at the beginning. But outside of that, those are winnable games on that schedule. Those are winnable games. That has to be at least a bowl game in 26 and 27. 28, they're screwed again. But 26 and 27 are very winnable, Matt.
Listen, if you can't get to a bowl game next year and the year after, what has happened to this? I mean, that I don't even want to think about what that looks like if we can't do that. That's like 6 years of being at the bottom of the Big Ten. I would never thought this would happen. And I still, like, you can hear it. I'm kind of shocked, but that's more food for thought for next time we connect. But just go have fun at Oregon.
This is all on Barry Alvarez. If Barry Alvarez wants this all to end, he'll end it. I'm just being honest. You know it. He's King Barry for a reason. If Barry Alvarez says, I've had enough, I'm done watching this crap, he's going to walk in and say, everybody's gone, I'm taking back over, and we're going to redo this whole thing. That's coming. You watch. If this continues, he's not going to be patient for very long. He's playing nice guy right now. It's eventually going to end. Matt, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Sparky, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. There he is, Matt Bernstein, joining us, former Badger fullback, biggest personality, nicest dude ever. You can follow him on Twitter at Bernie_H_Hammer, joining us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Love Matt Bernstein. I told Chuck we have Matt Bernstein. I was like, yeah, all right, this is good. Matt Bernstein's so good, man. Coming up next, Pat Murphy, Brewers manager. He joined John Heyman and Joel Sherman on the show podcast that they do for the New York Post. Interesting comments made by Pat Murphy about what it was like coming off that Cubs loss. But he also made a comment about a certain deal that in his mind doesn't make sense for a smaller market like Milwaukee, as far as a certain trade that wouldn't make sense. To which I said, oh no, that explains a lot of what happened at the trade deadline. Oh no, this could explain a lot of how they're going to do business going forward. You'll want to hear that. That's coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fifer here. And don't forget, win big this October at Potawatomi. Play the Bird Bash game show for $50,000 in cash. Just play with your Potawatomi rewards card for entries. Prize drawing on Thursdays. Plus, you play also earns you a shot at the $300,000 December season finale. It's a Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. For more details, visit paysbig.com/birdbash. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, Steve Sparky, Fifer. Charlie, use it over there. Bucks and the Wizards tonight. Don't forget, when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. Offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast. Get the free small frosty classic at Wendy's. When the Bucks win, you win. Make sure to take advantage of that. Again, our thanks to Matt Bernstein, former Badger fullback, part of the Believe in Badgers podcast that him and Matt Perkins do, Sojourn Shelton. There's a whole bunch of guys that do that podcast, and it is really, really good. Highly advise y'all checking it out. Okay, so Pat Murphy was on the show podcast with John Heyman, who we've had on this show numerous times over the course of time. Known John for a long time, MLB insider, MLB Network, New York Post. And Joel Sherman, another guy that has been with the New York Post for quite some time, also with the MLB Network. They do a podcast, so they had Pat Murphy on. One of the many things that were addressed was what it was like for Pat Murphy and his Brewers team coming off of beating the Cubs and then getting a day off and having to play the Dodgers.
Beating the Cubs was so emotional, John. It drained us. It drained me. And then we have to practice the next day and play the next day. It's like, ooh. That felt, I can imagine how the players felt. And we still lost 2-1 with the bases loaded in the ninth, and had opportunities to win there. So I commend this team. I admire this team we had in Milwaukee. Unfortunately, we ran into the buzzsaw of the Dodgers at the wrong time.
The emotional toll that it took on this Brewers team. I will tell you that it made me feel good to hear that. It really did. I'm pretty happy as a fan to hear that. Now, you don't want it to affect the next series, which I think it probably did a little bit. But from a fan perspective that can't stand the traitor in Chicago and that team and that organization and everybody that represents that organization, from that perspective, I love hearing that my favorite team was emotionally invested in making sure they didn't lose that series to that team. That, to me, again, from a fan perspective, I want to put my arms around all of them and give them a big hug and say thank you. Because that isn't always the case. The fans can be all mad and angry about something. Other players are like, man, those guys are cool, man. I don't know why they get so mad about those guys. There ain't nothing, not a big deal over there. But that's not what happened. They flew the L. They flew the L flag with a picture. They're playing Go Cubs Go in their clubhouse several times in the celebration, late into the night partying and playing it. They wanted to beat them badly. And I didn't have that sense going into the series that that's where they were. But after the series, you figured out that's where they were in that series and how badly they wanted it. And again, as a fan, I absolutely love it. Just like back in the day, I'm going to be old head again. Back in the day when it's, Forrest Gregg coaching the Packers and it's Mike Ditka coaching the Bears, and those two are like wanting to fight each other every game, and both teams are taking cheap shots and all hell is breaking loose, and it's a fight more than it's a football game. As a fan, man, that was like the best part. Those are the best days of the rivalry. When not only the fans hate each other, the players hated each other, the coaches hated each other. That's great. Or the Brewers in La Russa with Jonathan Lucroy running his mouth about the Cardinals, and back and forth you go. That was a great rivalry back then, and you just don't have a lot of those anymore. And after how that playoff series ended, next year when these two teams play, there's going to be a lot more of that going on now than there was prior to that series from both sides.
I think losing in the NLCS, though, has to do with a lot more than just the fact that you were burnt out from playing the Cubs.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I think you were burnt out from just getting over that hurdle. I think getting over that first round hurdle that this Milwaukee Brewers team has constantly had in front of them, you beat the Cubs and you just automatically have this sigh of relief, which you just couldn't have that sigh of relief. That was the biggest problem, is that you already had your moment where you're like, all right, we did it. We got past this. But that wasn't over for this Milwaukee Brewers team. And then I think the other thing is what we were talking about on Monday right here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, was that the preseason expectations for this team were so minimal. And the fact that it could have been the Cardinals, it could have been the Pirates, it could have been the Reds, no matter who was in that spot, the fact that you could go out there and dominate the NL Central, not only in the regular season, but then beat whoever it was in the playoffs too, felt really good. And again, was just a big sigh of relief for this team. All three of those things, it being the Cubs, it being the first round of the playoffs, and then
Technically the second round, but
first round for the
series
Brewers.
you played, right?
First round for the Brewers.
Correct.
And then third, that just sigh of relief that you finally own the NL Central outright over everybody just feels good, and you have to be excited about that. But then it also just took all the energy out of you for the next series, where it was a team where you needed to be 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. But again, if that's the trade-off for me as a fan, I'm cool. Like I said, after they beat the Cubs, I really was not going to be mad if they lost the Dodgers.
Next year, are you cool if it's the same situation where they have the Cubs in that second round and then LDS they beat them again, or the Cardinals or the Pirates or whoever?
No.
Just the Cubs?
That's all.
Not even the Cardinals.
I don't like the Cardinals, but as long as the trader is managing that team, they cannot lose to him in the postseason. Everybody else, I'll deal with. But I that one, absolutely not.
So it's the Cubs and then LDS, and you go on and you lose to the Dodgers
again?
the same way. Do you feel the same way about this?
Yes, I do. Especially if it's the same 4 pitchers. Yes, I do. Yes. Those are 4 Hall of Famers. I mean, again, we can get all mad and bent out of shape on this. I don't think if they lose, if the Dodgers lose in the World Series and they get sent home as losers to the Blue Jays, then I think maybe my feelings change a little bit. But right now, as I said, I don't think they're losing. I think they're just going to roll through the Blue Jays.
Look pretty good.
They did, absolutely. And they've got a lot of high-end talent for sure. I'm not saying they're going to get swept like the Brewers, but I don't think they're going to win the series like the Brewers either. All right, so this other piece here is interesting too. So here is Pat Murphy on the show with John Heyman and Joel Sherman talking about Freddie Peralta, and then if they were to trade him, what they would be looking for.
Yeah, he's been an icon here. I mean, he's loved in the clubhouse. He's loved in the front office. He's loved by our fans and our community. He does a lot in the community. This guy's real. It's legit. But that is our modus operandum, is that I'm sure that there'll be conversations about that and teams will make offers. And I think we feel like for that price, we've got to get ourselves something really special.
There you go.
And, or I think we're 100% happy keeping him going forward because, that's, like you said, our starting pitching is kind of a question mark. Losing Woody, if we don't re-sign Woody or make him a big deal, then, that's, and when you look at where we operate budget-wise, you don't have a lot of wiggle room to go get a starter,
Okay, so there's Pat Murphy. Number one, I like the idea of what he says is something special. I'll translate. You got to knock Matt Arnold's socks off if you want Freddie Peralta this offseason. That does not mean that somebody may not knock his socks off. They're going to come at $8 million. Small markets can afford to trade for Freddie Peralta. Remember the Royals? We gave the Royals our farm system to get Zach Greinke. And that was for what? 2 years? Year and a half, whatever it was. And that trade was the core to them going to 2 World Series after that. That set them up and put them in a position to do that. So from the Brewers' perspective, and we talked about this yesterday, I want to start in third baseman. I don't care about prospects. I want to start in third baseman. I don't know what Matt Arnold's going to want, but if they knock his socks off and it's too good to pass up, as Pat Murphy said, you got to go. You're the Brewers. You're in a small market. You can't say no and say, oh, no, he's untouchable. Because honestly, nobody should be untouchable at this point when you're in a small market. If it's crazy over the top good and there doesn't seem to be a lot of miss involved, then you got to take the sure thing if you can get the sure thing.
If you want a comparison, I don't think Devin Williams needed to be a knock your socks off offer. I think Nestor Cortez and Caleb Durbin was nowhere near a knock your socks off offer.
Nope.
But there's going to be teams that are going to be willing to do that. I think there's teams like Arizona who have younger, under control pitching, and guys like Zach Gallen that could potentially be an option if you wanted to just go pitcher
Want
for
a
pitcher.
starting third baseman. That's what I want. Or a shortstop. So if it's Nato with the Angels, Zach Nato, who it got brought up yesterday, then fine. Then go get Zach Nato. 25 to 30 home runs, hits about 260, steals about 30 bases. Put him at shortstop over Joey Ortiz. That's a huge offensive upgrade at shortstop. That I'm fine with, right? It's Nato, and maybe it's something else. I don't know. And then you go. I think Nato's going into what? His first year of arbitration or whatever. So you've got Nato for at least 3 more years. So that type of deal makes sense to me.
I also saw on Bleacher Report, for some reason, why do you think people want the Brewers to trade for pitchers again this offseason? Because their top trade target was Joe Ryan of the Minnesota Twins for the Milwaukee Brewers.
I think that's what every year everybody thinks you can never have enough pitching. And you hear Pat Murphy talk, he says it's questionable. Well, why is it questionable? Because it's all young guys. And I think every manager wants proven guys with a couple of young guys. I think that's kind of what it looks like to me of as far as how they view it. Now, this is the clip I really wanted to play. This is Pat Murphy talking about potentially if you're the Brewers trading for a guy like a Peralta with only 1 year left on his deal.
But when you think of our organization, giving up prospects for 1 year of control of somebody is probably not what we do best. And it probably doesn't make sense, does it?
So y'all want to know what didn't happen at the deadline or whatever the case may be. And it was brought up to him, well, y'all got Zach Greinke. Yeah, but that was more than 1 year, number one. And number two, that was a different regime. That's not this regime. That was Doug Melvin continuously pushing in after Sabathia, going and getting pitchers. Sean Markham and Greinke that offseason. He got both of them. He traded Brett Lowry, who was this hotshot prospect coming up that was bitter and mad at the organization because they weren't moving him fast enough. And they trade him for Markham. But they got two starting pitchers to try again, to push forward and go for it. It doesn't appear that this regime is going to be as aggressive as they were, or as aggressive as the Packers were to get Markham, or as aggressive as the Bucks were to get Holiday, Lillard, or Miles Turner. They're not in that position. They're not going to do that necessarily. But having said that, you push all chips in for a 1 year player if you think you're a player away from winning a World Series. Then it makes sense for the Brewers. But even then, you still have to then be healthy for the entire season and have things go your way to even put you in that position. I can trade for 1 year of Ohtani, let's say, but if you lose 8 guys to injury, it's not going to matter, and you're going to have given up your whole farm system for one guy, and things go wrong. At the same time, if you're healthy for that whole year, when you give up a boatload of prospects, and that guy you traded for that 1 year is unbelievable, see Sabathia, for instance, and is like that, and everybody's healthy and does their thing, then it's completely different. Then all of a sudden you can start talking about winning a World Series and competing in a World Series and so forth. We got to get to a quick timeout, but let's get to Q in Wauwatosa. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line. What's up, Q?
Hey, Sparky. So I just wonder, like, hearing you talk about the different regimes and the trading philosophies.
Yeah.
Where do you think this lineup ranks compared to like the Fielder, Braun, Hardy era?
It's not as good as that lineup, but the pitching potentially has been better than maybe what they had, because that was the one thing that killed that team was they didn't have the pitching. They had the power. They had the average. They didn't have the speed of this team necessarily. But, I mean, if you're going to give me the opportunity to have Hardy, Weeks, Braun, Fielder, and those guys, I think I would take that lineup over this lineup.
I would agree. And do you think it's easier to trade for pitching than it is to trade for bats?
I think it's easier to trade for bats than it is to trade for pitching. Pitching is treated like gold in Major League Baseball. Bats, I think, are easier to get than pitching, for sure. And I think it doesn't normally cost you as much either.
I think that's true, but I think it's partly because bats are just very inconsistent. So, like, going all in on CC, like, I mean, he definitely exceeded our expectations, but I feel like it's a little, like, the range of outcomes is a little stickier with pitching. And that, to me, like, it feels like when you trade for a bat, it's a big of a gamble because anybody can go cold. Like with pitching, if it's a good pitcher, they just can only get hurt. That's like
but that's the problem though, right? I mean, if the pitcher blows out his shoulder or his elbow or something, you're potentially losing for an entire year. If a hitter gets cold for a year, okay, but usually based on the numbers in the back of the baseball card, normally that he comes back to being who he is eventually. Thanks for the call, Q. But it's an interesting conversation. But if you're asking me which one would I feel more safe in paying the most money to, I'd much rather pay a hitter than a pitcher any day of the week. If we're talking a 5-year deal or a 7-year deal or whatever the case may be, Charlie.
The upside just usually lends more towards a World Series for a hitter than it does a pitcher.
No doubt.
Even though the value may not be as scarce as a pitcher, it just shows up more in the stat sheet for you.
Absolutely right. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. See Sparky, Fifer, Charlie using other side of the glass. Prize Picks, the best way to win cash on the Packers this sports season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. I will tell you that I went on Prize Picks and made one of my own Prize Picks lineups. It's basketball related, though, for tonight's games. I'll tell you what that is momentarily. Prize Picks, simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 or more player stat projections. If you get the picks right, you could cash in. Plus, you can stack players. For instance, I stacked Giannis tonight against Washington, right? So you can pick up the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So I'll tell you what my lineup is coming up here momentarily, but I stacked Giannis tonight against Washington. Also, they've got the flex play, which I did tonight as well, which means you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. If you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play, no matter your play. Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Again, $5. If you play $5 lineups, you can play 11 lineups for the 50 they give you and the 5 that you play. It makes all the sense in the world. As far as my Prize Picks lineup goes, that you all are going to be looking at coming up tonight, I did stack one Giannis. And I don't know if my guy Charlie agrees with it or not.
Let's hear
because
it.
I did it without Charlie's knowledge earlier today. I did tweet it out
agree with it,
from Sparky Radio. I did tweet it out. So Giannis, I did rebounds and I did points on my stacking there. So Giannis, I did more than 24.5 points tonight against Washington.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Giannis, more than 12 rebounds tonight against Washington.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Okay.
And the third one I did was in honor of Inside Wisconsin Sports, our morning show here, because they just had Con Knipple on earlier this week. You can go and find Inside Wisconsin Sports as well. Con Knipple, more than 10 points in his debut.
All right, I like that too. They don't play defense out there in Charlotte.
All right. So those are my 3. You can hop on and do the same if you would like. Let's go to Brewer Mike in Waukesha. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Brewer Mike?
Oh, hey, Sparky. Charlie said he was going to put me on hold till next segment. But
I got you. We got like a minute, so go ahead.
I need more than a minute. You know that, Sparky.
All right,
anyway.
then hold on a second. Then just hold on. Then hold on. You need more than a minute. Just hold on. We'll get to you then coming up.
He's got thoughts.
Brewer Mike always has thoughts. I've known Brewer Mike for 20 years, so that's completely fine. I don't want to cut him off too early, but we're on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network there now, Brewer Mike. So I have to get to breaks at certain times. It's a whole big deal. So we're going to do that coming up here next. And then we'll get to our Green and Gold update. David Bakhtiari was on the podcast with John Kuhn and Matt Schneidman. Lots of thoughts from David Bakhtiari. You'll hear from those. We got to talk about Chris Milton coming back tonight as well. Got to make our predictions on the Bucs season coming up. And Charlie Sounds of the Day we got to get to all straight ahead here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with me, Steve Sparky Fifer.